If you think that this is ugly, then I got some bad news for you.
You're so gay and you don't even love.
I have relationships with women and sex with men.
So PlayStation had a major state of play presentation today, and it actually had some good news for the Nintendo Switch 2. That's what we're going to get into in today's video. So unless you've been living under a rock for the past few hours, then you're probably aware that PlayStation had a major presentation that ended just a few minutes ago, where a few heavy hitters were shown off for the first time, like the new Tomb Raider game, and they even announced a new God of War game where you play as his wife, among a few other things. But for today's video, I'm going to focus on the announcements that are relevant to you and I, and that of course is anything related to the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, of which there actually is some pretty exciting news to talk about. So first, the new Rayman Legends 2.5D remake was shown off for the first time at this state of play, and it was also subsequently confirmed for the Nintendo Switch 2. Honestly, I really don't understand why this game needed a remake. The 2D Rayman games from the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita era had an art style that is essentially timeless. Those games, even the day one versions of those games, will look beautiful 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and even 30 years from now. So I don't understand the logic in some of these companies where they remake a game that just came out not too long ago just to give it slight enhancements. What I think it is that a company like Ubisoft right now is in a lot of financial trouble, and I think their thinking is that we need a big seller with a very minimal risk. So they take a beloved game like Rayman Legends and they just decided that they're gonna update it, even though it doesn't really need it. And it looks like they're even censoring it in some parts as well, so yeah, there's that. That said, Ubisoft has said that on the Nintendo Switch 2, Rayman Legends Retold, which is the name that they're going with, is gonna target 60 frames per second, and it is gonna have full parity with the other consoles, which is to be expected at this point, considering that the Nintendo Switch 2 is a very powerful machine, plenty powerful enough to keep up with the current generation in every meaningful way. No rest for the wicked was announced for the Nintendo Switch 2 today, shortly after the Sony State of Play. When I first saw this, I thought this was a brand new game. It's from Moon Studio. That's the same studio that made Ori, Will of the Wisps. So I thought that it was new, but it turns out that it actually had an extended early access period, and a lot of people played an early build of it. What we saw today and what's gonna release on the Nintendo Switch 2 is the full proper release of the game. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's gonna be really good. This is a Souls-like game, and the devs said their intention in making this game was creating the sort of Souls game that they always wanted to play. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this game works out and how it runs on the Switch 2. That said, the game will be launching on the PlayStation 5 and PC in October later this year, and at a later date for Xbox Series and Nintendo Switch 2. And now for the game that I personally am most hyped for from this presentation that's also coming to the Switch 2, and that is Tomb Raider: The Legacy of Atlantis. First things first, let's get the obvious out of the way. There's a lot of people on Twitter who are hating on Lara Croft's design in this game, saying that she's ugly and woke and all this stuff. What I have to say about that is just shut the fuck up. I'm the last guy on earth who is ever gonna defend woke nonsense when it comes to games, and when it comes to anything else really, but Lara Croft in the modern games, she might not look like the idealized version of this, but she's not Deborah Wilson either.
Let's get it on.
People keep trying to say that she's ugly, but dude, if you think that this is ugly, then I got some bad news for you.
You're so gay and you don't even love.
I have relationships with women and sex with men.
Lara looks fine. I think she should be the exemplary model of a super attractive woman like she was always meant to be. I mean, I know that maybe this does not get your rocks off. At least not anymore, but this is the best that they could do with video game technology back in 1996. Back then, you had to imagine that she was the hottest woman on the planet because that's what the game was selling. That's what she was meant to be. The new Lara might not look like the hottest woman on the planet, but she is very attractive and very far from ugly. Anybody calling her ugly is just looking for engagement, honestly. But moving on, we didn't see any actual Switch 2 footage of this game, obviously, since this was a PlayStation presentation, but from a technical standpoint, the game looks really good. The action looks really good. If you played the reboot games, then I think you know what to expect from the gameplay, except you need to add lots and lots of dinosaurs to the mix, and there are lots of them in the gameplay that they showed. She also shows off a lot of the acrobatics that she was known for in the classic games, and which were noticeably absent in the reboot. By the way, speaking of the reboot games, the 2013 game did get released on the Switch and Switch 2 a few months ago, and one of the things that I did find to be a problem was how the hair was animated. So on the Nintendo Switch 2, Lara's hair looked like the PS3 version instead of the PS4 version. They did finally fix that with a patch a few weeks ago. I added that in because that kind of flew under the radar for me, but I was really glad that they fixed it. Here's a before and after of the game running on the Switch 2. So this is before the TressFX update, and this is after the TressFX update. You can see all the individual strands now. Anyway, so Legacy of Atlantis is essentially a remake of the original Tomb Raider game. Alex Wilton Reagan is going to be the voice of Lara Croft in this new remake, which is surprising. I figured they would have just stuck with the old one, but I do have to say we've only heard very little so far, but I think from what we have heard, she does give her a bit of that classic attitude that Lara Croft had as an experienced Tomb Raider. I look forward very much to playing this game when it comes out, and that is gonna be all the way in February of next year, so that is quite a ways away. We have a few more presentations that are gonna happen within the next few days, so it should be a pretty eventful week for the world of gaming. And there is, as there always seems to be, a big rumor of a Nintendo Direct this month, and honestly it only makes sense since everybody seems to be making announcements in June, so I do expect Nintendo is going to be doing something. That's going to be it for this video. If you dudes enjoyed it, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm SwitchPlayed, done.